right now, and that's about 5 degrees warmer than it was an hour ago. Penn State won the toss, elected to defer, so Clemson will get the ball first. Big game. Wostu will boot it away for Penn State with Adam Randall deep. Fair caught, and so it'll be a touchback. And Klubnik will take the field for the final time in a Clemson uniform. His 40th career start. He's in the top 5 in most major categories precipitously this season, but he has played better of late. And from the 25, they were running on first down, and nothing straight ahead for Adam Randall, the converted wide receiver. Got a lot of backups in there for Penn State.
Nice job of the opening play right front for the Nittany Lions.
Klubnik to throw here, and the pass is caught at the 31 by T.J. Moore. A gain of about 5 for Moore, who caught 46 passes during the regular season. They do not have Antonio Williams or Bryant Wesco today. Saw the shot of Dabo Swinney, year 17 for the two-time national champ, most wins in ACC history. Klubnik on the rollout, away from pressure, and it's dropped. Tyler Brown, who has not caught a pass in the last 4 games, unable to secure that, and it'll be 4th down for Penn State. Back at his 27-yard line, Jack Smith to punt it. And it's a fake. Smith throws a deep ball, and it's not even close. He was trying to hit Josh Sapp, and the pass was nowhere near the tight end, and so Penn State will take over on the Clemson 32. Drew Aller had a season-ending injury October 11th against Northwestern. Play action, and Grunkemeyer has a completion. And it's Devontae Ross out of bounds, about a yard short of the line to gain.
And Andy Kogelnicki, the offensive coordinator, wants to get these receivers involved today.
Grunkemeyer setting up a screen, and it's going to be close to a 1st down. Trevor Pena, 44 catches on the season. He's about a half-yard shy. Sammy Brown, 3rd down and short. Grunkemeyer in the quarterback sneak gets it easily. You mentioned Andy Kogelnicki, the offensive coordinator. This is his last game. Here's Smith trying to find a hole, busts it to the outside. Inside the 15 and down to the 12 for a 7-yard gain. Brought down by Brandon Strozier, starting corner.
With some different creative formations with this offense.
Smith with blockers out in front, gets to the 10 and pushed out of bounds there by Strozier. 2-yard gain, another 3rd down and short.
We'll see a lot of tight end play too. Andrew Rappelier, 87. Well, he's an excellent blocker, catches the ball well. It's kind of a staple of what this offense is, using those tight ends.
Between the tackles, Smith gets the 1st down. So they pick up a pair of 3rd down and short situations here on this first drive after taking over on the Clemson 32 after the failed fake punt. 1st down and goal on the 4. Grunkemeyer hands it to the freshman through Quentin Martin, and he is stacked up. No gain on the play. Sammy Brown in there first. 2nd down and goal. Smith and Brown got him backside and drags him to the ground at the 2.
Sammy Brown watching this come around. Make this play off the backside. Nice job by him.
They go with tempo, and in trouble in the backfield, and taken down is Corey Smith. And it's Haneke with the tackle for a loss to force a field goal. Great makes. This is a 22-yarder. The Kick is good, and Penn State takes advantage of a failed fake punt. We do have some technical difficulties. One thing that's been impacted because of the snowstorm, the blizzard that hit New York last night, is our Skycam is not working right now. Not a fair catch, so a touchback here for Clemson. Cade Klubnik back out there at quarterback for the Tigers. Klubnik has a completion. It's Tristan Smith on the catch, a gain of 5. Here's Tim. We've done Clemson games, and whether the team is doing great or not doing well, he's been very thoughtful with his comments, and you can see why he's a great leader. Randall comes up just short of the first down, bringing up 3rd and 2. And dropped down as Randall short of a first down. Denied Dennis Sutton, one of the rare great players on defense for Penn State. So Jack Smith tried to throw a pass on a fake punt from this spot on the first possession. He'll kick it away here to Pena. And Pena surrounded, makes the fair catch at the 30-yard line after a 37-yard punt. Grunkemeyer gets smacked back at the 20-yard line. The defensive line. Play action. Grunkemeyer setting up. Has time. And his pass is caught down the sideline for a first down by Rapelier. Out to midfield for a gain of 30.
I love this tight end room for Penn State. They are deep.
Yeah, there was a flag down the third base line, which is the far side at about the 19-yard line. We're out here in right field. Redshirt freshman Ethan Grunkemeyer from Lewis Center, Ohio. And the pass is incomplete. It was intended for Martin. And Ashton Hampton got hurt on the play as he made the hit. Third and 25. They're just going to keep it on the ground here. With Martin still going. And will come up about 5 yards short of the first down. T.J. Moore on 4th down and 4. That will hop inside the 20. And down to about the 13-yard line. Clemson will run it on first down, and not much there for Adam Randall. Of those 4 quarterfinal games, Dusty,
Logan's NFL talent from Miami. I think that's going to be an absolute slugfest there in Arlington.
Klubnik on 2nd down and 10. Going to check it down to Randall with some room. And he's cut down at the 22, about a yard short of the first down.
Are excellent. And I think that we're all in a huge treat for what those games have in store. You know, Oregon and Texas Tech, I mean, that's kind of a coin flip of a game. I don't know if you would call one or the other. And we'll see if Pete Goldman can get his 2nd playoff victory. But is there a chance of an upset? Yeah, Dave, it's the playoffs. I mean, it's never going to hold just Chuck.
Klubnik throws high, and it's incomplete, almost picked off by Lane.
Really fun one out in Pasadena.
Klubnik setting up the screen, and out past the 35 is T.J. Moore for a first down. Klubnik, and it's dropped at midfield by Tyler Brown. We've seen 2 drops early on for Clemson. And another drop. This time it's Clark Sanderson, a true freshman who has just 1 catch on the year. No interceptions. Klubnik hit, and the ball comes up short of the intended target. Dennis Sutton in the backfield again for Penn State. Jack Smith out there for the 3rd time. Faked the punt the first time. Threw an incomplete pass. Punted it the 2nd time. Here. Not a good kick, and it checks up, and it'll be down by Clemson around the 37 for about a 30-yard punt. They're trying to avoid that today, but it looked like mid-season for sure they'd have a losing record when they were 3-6. On the jet sweep, it's Liam Clifford, and he gets about 2 yards. Ricardo Jones on the stop. There's Terry Smith, the interim coach, but will give way to Matt Campbell. Campbell was actually supposed to be here and was going to join us here early second quarter, but his flight got canceled. He will not make it. Quentin Martin gets the first down on the carry.
The Penn State community loves him, and it's great to see he's going to stay and be joining Matt Campbell's staff.
As Grunkemeyer keeps it in slides for no gain. What it's like to work here at Penn State, and that should benefit Campbell.
1 quarter in the books here.
Happened. Really disappointed in that, but a great job holding up. Good stop on the punt back there. Offensively, we're just stopping ourselves. We've got 4 drops already. Ball's right to us. First down opportunities.
3rd down and 6 for Penn State midfield. And they're going to keep it on the ground. And coming up about 3 yards short is Corey Smith. Bring up 4th down. Tackle by Brown and help.
I think based off that play call, this is 4-down territory for Terry Smith.
4th down and 4. Grunkemeyer with time. And falling down is Rappleyea. And so Penn State turns it over on downs. The flag down.
After the discussion, there is no foul for illegal substitution. There are only 11 players on the field. First down. Clemson.
So first down for Clemson at its 46. Klubnik, and with pressure in his face, throws incomplete. Second and 10. Pass is caught at midfield for a gain of about 4. Klubnik moving to his left and sacked by Dennis Sutton. Got to get rid of the ball. Klubnik did not. Takes a sack and a loss of 12.
Well, we've said denied Dennis Sutton's name quite a bit already in this ball game, having a big first half. Standing up here off the edge. Does a good job. It's going to just be delayed. He's going to kind of stay back, try to mirror the quarterback. And as you mentioned, Dave, Cade Klubnik should know he cannot hold on to the ball that long. And the senior comes up with a big 3rd down sack.
So Jack Smith out there again with Pena deep for Penn State. Dennis Sutton, 3rd team All Big Ten, 6.5 sacks during the regular season. And Pena hit. He did not signal for a fair catch, so no flag. As Grunkemeyer back to throw on first down, takes a shot downfield, and it's incomplete. But finally somebody was able to lure Matt Campbell away from Iowa State. Why was it Penn State?
He does things the right way. He is going to build this program the right way, win football games, develop quality young men. You've heard a lot from Iowa State about the 5-star culture. I'm excited for Penn State. I'm excited for Matt Campbell. He had a great run in Ames, and I think he's about to start a great run at State College.
After the 13-yard play by Pena, here's a dump off to Martin out of space, but he stumbles and falls for a loss of 5. To do there, to Taylor's point on developing players, all the NFL players he's turned out, including Brock Purdy, as that is dropped by Ross and turned to run before it secured the ball.
We'll stay the exact same.
Got a timeout called by Penn State.
Perfect fit, both sides.
Grunkemeyer in trouble, steps up on 3rd and 15 and dumps it off to Rappleyea, taken down at the line of scrimmage by Strozier. Wosu with good punt. Backing up is Moore, and the fair catch around the 21. Jet sweep on first down, and some running room past the 30-yard line for Tyler Brown. Gideon Davidson the ball carrier. And he's wrapped up by Dominic DeLuca, 3-year captain.
The opportunity to put on that uniform one more time.
Design run for Klubnik off the left side. And he's up to the 39 for 3 yards. Brought down by Tracy. Today. Timeout by Clemson. Just 1 interception in the last 5 games. He's here for a game and asked if he could take the base. They gave it to him. He's got it in his office. He showed it to us. We met with him this week via Zoom. Catch at the 45 for a first down.
Several years ago, and told us he threw out the first pitch at Wrigley previously, and he was quick to tell us it was a strike. But he was chomping at the bit to do those kind of things, just for the team to get around each other. Look, it's business. You got to practice, get ready for a game, but there's also just something about bonding, creating those memories with your teammates.
Wide open is T.J. Moore. Klubnik finds it. Knocked out of bounds inside the 20-yard line. The 42-yard gain. And Penn State tries for a timeout and gets it called.
Scoop and score against Rutgers, the go-ahead touchdown, and that win the catapulted game.
Klubnik with everybody covered, throws to the end zone, incomplete. Intended for Tristan Smith.
Wheatley, who's out, he's given up a lot of size. Ooh, a lot of contact. Does not draw a flag, but very physical there on Tristan Smith.
Nolan Hooser on for a 33-yard attempt. 16 of 19 on the season. And the kick is no good. And then a missed field goal by Clemson. So 9 plays combined run in the red zone, and a total of 3 points. Corey Smith got back to the line of scrimmage and maybe a yard before he stacked up. 2nd down and 9. They'll keep it on the ground and some room off the right side, but a great tackle by Sammy Brown and Corey Smith.
Timeout. Clemson, their 2nd of the half.
3rd down and 8 for Penn State. Grunkemeyer with time, and his pass is pulled down at the 37 for a first down by Pena. 8 of 14.
Trevor Pena is the most reliable of these receivers. Love his hands and great concentration on the sidelines, working on Strozier. Able to catch that ball before he goes out of bounds. Trevor Pena had such a big year last year at Syracuse. He came in here to Penn State, and when his number's been called, he stepped up, and a nice catch there to move the sticks on 3rd and long.
Need some playmakers without Katron Allen and Nicholas Singleton in the backfield. It's Corey Smith getting the back of the carries, and he's slammed down for a loss. Strozier made the hit.
Well done by Strozier. He's got to come up and set this edge. Corey Smith unable to shake the corner.
Grunkemeyer, and ball came out 20. Trying to hit true freshman Kobe Howard, who has just 5 catches on the year. Grunkemeyer steps up and puts it deep, incomplete off the fingertips of Rappleyea.
He sees Rappleyea go up to make that catch, gets his hands up, and gets it back to break them.
DJ Moore is deep and took a second to adjust to it. Makes the fair catch around the 29-yard line. As that pass is incomplete, intended for Smith. Klubnik off play action in trouble. The pass batted back and an incomplete by Campbell. Klubnik over the middle. Secured for a first down at the 40-yard line by T.J. Moore. Gain of 13 on 3rd and 10. Grab that one out of Klubnik stepping up as a lot of green in front of him. And has a first down before he scoots out. Clemson just missed a 33-yard field goal on its last drive. They'll keep it on the ground. Davidson tripped up in the hole. Come over here, Boog. It's about 8. You'd love it. Straight ahead, Davidson keeps the feet moving and has a first down at the 35. We're inside 2 minutes, so the clock will stop on first downs to reset the chains. It's the 33-yard field goal. A handful of drops by wide receivers. And a failed fake punt, and now another drop, but that was knocked out by Lane on the pass for Bentonkirk. Positive note heading into 2026. Klubnik surveying the field, gets hit and sacked. Back at the 45-yard line by Jalen Harvey. Second sack taken by Klubnik. Third down and 18. Checks it down. Davidson able to get back into field goal range. It is 4th down and 4 after a 14-yard gain. Maybe trying to draw Penn State offside, call a timeout. Maybe Dabo will then send the offense back on the field. And it's good. And the tie at 3. Decent turnout of Clemson fans, though, here at Yankee Stadium. Trip to New York for both these schools. Mack. Oh, he takes an awkward landing. Sammy Brown was there.
Howard's Rock. I did not see any Clemson players try to touch it, though, for good luck.
It's a straight line. There's no hill here at Yankee Stadium. It'll be quite the run, too, from the first base dugout all the way. Grunkemeyer gets hit, and his pass is incomplete. Intended for Howard. Broken up by Hannafin. Denhoff had the pressure. Trying to the first down. They do. Quentin Martin, and he pushes the punt all the way out to the 44. The clock will stop with 34 seconds left.
For getting behind his blockers and scoring through for a nice pickup.
Clock starts on the ready for play. Grunkemeyer able to drop it off to Ross. And he scoots out of bounds in Clemson territory at the 48. 26 seconds remaining. State. Or Clemson rather. Pressure off the edge. And Grunkemeyer hit the ball. Comes out. It's recovered by Clemson. Now they're going to say the hand was going forward. Incomplete pass as Brown Schuler jumped on the loose ball.
Ruling on the field is an incomplete pass.
Yes.
3rd down.
22 seconds left. No timeouts remaining. Grunkemeyer to the sideline. It's caught by Howard, the true freshman, and then out of bounds to stop the clock with 18 seconds left.
Putting this offense in position to try to get points before the break.
7th straight start after replacing the injured Drew Allen. Grunkemeyer from the pocket. Throws high. Over the head of Pena. Ricardo Jones, the safety, had it one hop in. Big blitz. Grunkemeyer throws, and it's complete inside the 15 to Ross. And then Ross, he did not hang on to an incomplete. Grunkemeyer will throw to the sideline. It is caught. Rapplier knocked out of bounds. At about the 30-yard line. And it's good. And Penn State takes a 6-3 lead to halftime. State will start this drive from his 25 after the touchback. And Quentin Martin, the ball carrier on first down. No Katron Allen or Nicholas Singleton today for Penn State.
Their top ball carriers that force starting offensive linemen to run the ball, where Clemson is not.
Martin again, he'll come up just short of the line to gain. Third down. Kate Denhoff on the tackle.
Traditional duo at running back for Penn State. Nice running there to get that first down. These two guys came in together as true freshmen. They played all 4 years.
Reese Smith, Quentin Martin, Cam Wallace, or Matt Campbell goes into the portal for running backs to replace those guys next year. Ross taking the pitch, turning it upfield and out of bounds at the 43. Make those decisions after today. It will be Matt Campbell that decides whether it's Grunkemeyer or he goes into the portal. Ross out of bounds after the catch. He's short of the line to gain by a yard.
This roster, once this game is concluded, but I tell you what, he's made a strong case for himself, whether it's in State College or somewhere else, to be a starting quarterback here in the near future.
Yeah, Martin gets the first down up to midfield.
He's been poised, he's been accurate, and he's done everything that's been asked to have done lead this team.
Looking to throw is Clifford, who's listed as the backup quarterback today. His brother Sean was a 4-year starting quarterback at Penn State, but it's incomplete, 2nd and 10.
After further review, there was only one legal forward pass. The ruling on the field is upheld.
For Penn State on 2nd down and 10. Thought we'd see some Cam Wallace today, but have not. Off the bootleg, the pass is complete, and it's a first down inside the 35-yard line. Aaron Enterline, or check that, Luke Reynolds.
After the catch, you see that athleticism and a nice pickup.
25th catch of the year for him. Pena, and he gets clocked at the 30. And a 4 on the play. Tackled by Brown.
Not playing well. They throw so many different sets at you. A lot of 12 personnel, 1 back, 2 tight ends.
Grunkemeyer off play action, hit and sacked back at the 35-yard line. Quarterfinal round of the college football playoffs start New Year's Eve and continue into January 1, 2026. Devontae Ross inside the 30-yard line. Going to be 4th down, but they're going for it with a 3-point lead. Empty set for Grunkemeyer. And they run a wide receiver screen, and the pass is dropped by Devontae Ross, and Clemson takes over on downs.
A lot of pressure on Kate Klubnik in that first half.
He'll keep it here, faking the handoff. And up to about the 34. Randall, who Klubnik faked it to, got absolutely smoked. 40th career start for Klubnik, playing his final game in a Clemson uniform. Up the middle, big hole for the former receiver Randall. Knocked down right at the line to gain by Mack. And a little pushing and shoving after the play between Tristan Lee, the veteran left tackle,
End his career with the win.
3rd down and short. They'll keep it on the ground. And Randall appears to have it at the 40-yard line.
A stellar career closing here today for Blake Miller.
Klubnik in trouble, got rid of it, and Benton Kerr makes the catch. 19th on the season, about 2 or 3 there. 4 conference losses for Clemson. The game against SMU, Christopher Vizina replaced him. Randall out of the backfield and got back to the line of scrimmage. It'll be 3rd down and 8. Zion Tracy on the stop. Facing pressure, Klubnik backpedaling and launches it downfield, but throws it out of bounds. A flag though. Josh Sapp got shoved by Collins. And this is going to be a first down for Clemson.
Pass interference. Defense number 2, 50-yard penalty and automatic. First down.
The crowd not liking it. They're saying this ball was uncatchable. Collins just trying to play makeup. And it results in a first down.
Klubnik And that pass over the head of Randall. Klubnik taken off. Down to 39. So gain of 3 or 4. 3rd and long.
Dennis Sutton up top.
Might be a free play. There was contact to flag down. Yeah, Dennis Sutton jumped offside. Was he drawn off? There's contact made. That's why they blew it dead if it is offside.
Offense number 1, 5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
That was on TJ Moore.
TJ Moore up top.
Boy, it looked at that point like Dennis Sutton was in the neutral zone.
Therefore, if the offense jumps at the same time, it's always going to be on the offense.
Thank you, Klubnik. Firing downfield and behind the intended target. Tyler Brown incomplete, 4th down. And Clemson will have to punt it away here. Jack Smith, Taylor touched on the choice he made to fake a punt. It eventually led to 3 Penn State points after it failed. That's the difference in the game as Pena makes the fair catch on the 10. But one of the things they were looking forward to was that, along with just being in the city at Christmas time. Nice run off the right side by Quentin Martin. A gain of 7 on 1st down.
Here to try to get some more points on the board.
You got a lot of backups on that offensive line because of injuries and opt-outs. Martin will have the 1st down of the 21. Cochran on the tackle for Clemson.
Felt that they have tremendous depth, so even dipping into the backups, not a lot of drop-off.
They keep it on the ground for the 3rd straight play. And Martin gets close to 10. Be a half-yard shy of a 1st down. Cochran another tackle.
Big hole opens up off the left side. And again, man, Martin's just really impressive with the burst that he's showing on the field.
Straight ahead 1st down run for Martin. Hannafin trips him up. Fresh set of downs for Penn State. They're coming out as you suggested. He and Nicholas Singleton both not playing today for the Nittany Lions. Trying to finish the season with a win in a bowl game. And off-play action. It's Howard on the catch into Clemson territory.
Really dipping into that running back room.
And they go to Hayes here to get the carry. And he picks up 4 to the 40-yard line. Brought down by Vic Burley. And quickly hired by Virginia Tech. Smith will be part of Matt Campbell's staff going forward. Here's a shovel pass to Reynolds. And he's inside the 30. A little tight end shovel pass and a gain of 11.
And again, it's just misdirection. Pull that backside guard, fake the jet sweep, and then that shovel up the middle following his line.
Martin in trouble in the backfield and spilled for a 1-yard loss by Sammy Brown.
Love to run behind these tight ends.
Over 100 rushing yards on the day. Some more trickery, but Clemson not fooled. Pena brought down at the line of scrimmage. Brown and Cochran team up on the tackle for the Tigers. Also Caden Story in there. 3rd down and long. About a 48-yard field goal try from here. Ryan Barker made a 49-yarder in the 1st half. They'll keep it on the ground at 3rd long. And down inside the 25 is Martin. It's going to be 4th and 4. They went for it around this area earlier in the quarter. They'll have enough time to talk it over before we begin the final frame here at Yankees Stadium in the Bronx. About a 45-yard field goal. It's 4th and close to 6. So Ryan Barker out to try to extend the lead to 6. 43-yard attempt after the 49-yarder and 22-yarder he made in the 1st half. It's good, and so it's a 6-point lead for Penn State.
And Oregon at number 5. Really a incredibly quality lead at the top and throughout.
Randall on the return. Able to break a tackle back at the 15. Randall dragged down at the 34.
Emphasis on running the ball, on stopping the run. I think a lot of what Kyle Whittingham is about fits that Michigan man profile, and the style of football that he gets and demands from his teams is, I think, one that they're going to enjoy in Ann Arbor.
As he goes to Ann Arbor to take over the Wolverines, who obviously a coaching disaster with the Sharon Moore situation. A program with great tradition, history, and a lot of talent that he will inherit.
A lot of talent.
3rd down and 5 for Clemson. Down 6. Trying to keep this drive going. Klubnik. Everybody covered. Receiver comes back to the ball. Benton Kerr. He cannot hang on. It's incomplete. Wiley and Mack in coverage. 4th down.
Brett got that right arm in and got the pass breakup.
Pena is deep after the 3 and out. Along the sideline, makes the fair catch at the 25.
Coats are for broadcasters.
Coats in about 8 layers as that pass intended for Reynolds is incomplete. A little surprised they come out throwing after the way they ran the ball, and now that they have a lead. No running here with Martin, and he is drilled at the 28-yard line by Vic Burley. So a short gain, maybe a couple 3rd down and long.
A step up and a nice tackle on 2nd down.
Grunkemeyer to the air on 3rd down, and it's caught by Pena. Breaks the tackle, and breaks free. Pena inside the 30. He'll go all the way. Touchdown, Penn State. 73 yards. Play clock down to 5. They're going to run it, and no shot for Martin. Grabbed immediately by Denhoff. Catch and run of 73 yards. Failed a 2-point conversion after, so it's 15-3. Now Clemson will need 2 touchdowns to have a chance to win the game. This will help as they'll get very good starting field position after the kick from Wosu goes out of bounds.
They need to try to find one.
Klubnik instead throwing it underneath to Sapp, who's dumped immediately by Campbell. Facing a 4-man rush. Klubnik has another drop as Davidson puts it on the ground this time. That's 6 drops, part because of the inability to run the ball on 1st down. Not very good in the red zone either. Klubnik taking off, and he's brought down after a gain of maybe 2. Randall leaves the backfield. Klubnik rolling to his left and throwing it to Sapp, who gets the 1st down. Klubnik back to the air. Over the middle, wide open is Moore. And Moore appears to have another Clemson 1st down to his position here for 2nd down and a yard. Randall gets the 1st down, and an ankle tackle made that could have saved the touchdown by Torre.
I think it was a touchdown saving tackle by Torre.
Klubnik to the sideline, and an immediate hit on Tristan Smith by Dixon. Klubnik throwing downfield, a lot of contact. No flag. Dixon covering Smith. And now there is a penalty marker. It was late. It was thrown at about the 15-yard line.
Pass interference. Defense in the 5. 15-yard penalty and automatic.
On the talented Darius Dixon.
And Dixon, a true freshman who has played very well, has 2 pass breakups in this game, but got too handsy downfield with Tristan Smith. They wrap TJ Moore's ankle, and he's back out there for Clemson at the bottom of your screen. Clark Sanderson out in space, and he's close to a first down before he gets drilled out of play by Joseph. Randall first down, and he's knocked to the ground short of the goal line by Tracy. It'll be 1st and goal.
Inches closer to the goal line.
Randall again, and Randall dragged down, close and in. He got the ball across. Touchdown, Clemson. They're finally into the end zone with 8:47 to go.
Well, this is close. Adam Randall gets spun around. He reaches that football out. The nose of that ball over the goal line. Just crosses.
After further review, the ruling on the field of a touchdown is upheld.
Kick is good, and it's 15-10. Eventually, they hit Paters with a touchdown run from Randall. It'll be a touchback, and Clemson will start on its 25. Which resulted in the firing of their head coach as Grunkemeyer dumps it off to the sideline and out of bounds. Close to a first down is Devontae Ross, and it is going to be a 10-yard gain. This season, after Aller had struggled, Grunkemeyer is thrust into a very challenging situation and has handled it pretty well. Run the ball here. It's going to be a negative play. No room for Martin. Brown and Held all over him. Grunkemeyer in trouble, steps up, and has a completion to Rapplier at the 38. He's slung down as soon as he catches the ball by McLeod. Gain of about 3. It's for the 1 seed, but they got some work to do after that loss to Seattle. Grunkemeyer on 3rd and 7, and has a first down catch to Ross. What a throw by Grunkemeyer to Ross. Nearing 6 minutes to go, up 5. Martin, no running room, maybe a gain of 1, stopped by Denhoff. Played well against Nebraska, 11 of 12 for 181 yards and a touchdown when he started that game. A touchdown downhill for Martin. And they'll mark him at the 21. So it's a 6-yard gain. 3rd down coming up. But a big 3rd down at 4 for Grunkemeyer and the Penn State offense. And they're going to keep it on the ground and get the first down inside the 15. Down to the 10 is Hayes. It'll be 1st and 10. They're just outside goal-to-go situation. Strangely burned 2 timeouts on this drive. Wide open. Touchdown, Rapplier. And Grunkemeyer, with 6 touchdown passes all year, has 2 here in the 4th quarter. Told us it was tough to manage the emotions in the building. A lot of guys that didn't know if they'd be retained when Matt Campbell got hired, including himself, who will stay on the staff, but obviously will no longer be in the position of making the decisions on game day.
Penn State closing in on their 4th straight.
This pass caught by Benton Kerr, breaking tackles and into Penn State territories. Clemson has to go quickly here. 4.5 remaining. Klubnik in traffic, broken up, incomplete, intended for Moore. Down in coverage was Dixon. Klubnik in trouble and denied. Dennis Sutton wraps him up and turfs him at the 44-yard line. A loss of about 7.
33 playing his last game. Will not be denied getting to the quarterback.
2 sacks on the day for Dennis Sutton. Klubnik steps up and throws a strike for a first down to Tyler Brown on 3rd and 17. In a 2-score situation. Randall down to the 31. Be a 9-point deficit, so got to get into the end zone. Klubnik on the move, being chased by 2 Nittany Lions, and able to check it down to Randall, is taken down for a loss. 4-down territory, 3rd and 11. Klubnik. What a play by Woosley, knocking the ball away from Tyler Brown to make it 4th down and 11. And Clemson has to go for it. Will they come after him or back away? They send everybody. Klubnik is sacked back at the 48 by Torrey. And Penn State takes over on downs. Penn State will keep it on the ground. Out to midfield is Martin. Dabo Sweeney will call his final timeout. We'll get another stoppage in 2 minutes, where he did a great job identifying and developing players along with his outstanding staff. Martin picks up 2.
He's really taken the game over.
Down in 3. It's going to be close to a first down for Hayes. He's got it. And now the game, for all intents and purposes, is over. Clemson unable to stop the clock.
Hamilton and Allen in the backfield, and there's some chance of Terry out there. That's the appreciation I think everybody feels for what Terry Smith has done.
Don't forget to check out the ESPN app for the Capital One postgame immediately following this snap. Penn State will finish the year on a 4-game win streak and a 7-6 record as they beat Clemson, which also finishes 7-6. 22-10 the final score here at Yankee Stadium.